Hey, how's it going? This is Johnny and welcome to the channel. Today we'll be going over character designs. If anyone knows me here, y'all know how much I love to create new characters. The reason why is because it gives your audience new people to look at, but also they can actually like one of the new characters, or you're giving them more people to actually enjoy. The idea of it is, if I show you multiple characters, you find one that you can gravitate towards and you keep coming back to my work. You want to see what happens to your favorite characters. Excuse the little bit of a delay in our uploading videos. There's been some updates to the iOS and to Procreate, so it's been slowing a couple different things down, but we're going to get to it. Also, if you guys are into art, designing, learning how to make money off your creative properties, hit that subscribe button and be a part of the community. There's a notification bell that goes with it. Make sure that you click on that too. And we're going to get straight into the video. If you look at some of the big comic books like the Marvel characters, if you look at the DC characters, they have big teams where people can find at least one of those characters on that team and they'll keep coming back to read the stories because they want to find out what happens. You can do the same with your work. You want to be able to diversify your skills, allowing yourself to see that you can create a numerous amounts of characters from different sizes, genders, and orientations. When looking to the left of the screen, you're actually going to see images of a monkey. I knew that I wanted my character to have monkey features with more of a human kind of hybrid look, where he has a suit, he dresses very sharply, he has his own kind of weapons. I love integrating animals into some of the main characters in my story. That's something I've always loved to do since I was younger. With some series, you actually see there's a mixture between human and alien, while others is only one or the other. It's okay to be able to tell what you want your story to be and know the direction that you want your story to go in. When coming up with these designs, the first thing you want to do is make sure that you have an understanding of what you want it to look like. I'm not saying you need to know every little detail, but you want to have an overarching understanding. You want to have either certain things written down or have something in your head so you can have a starting off point. You don't want to always go to a page blank because it can be a little frustrating and just a little bit intimidating. So as an artist, come up with something before you start so you can have somewhere you want to go. I've heard people say that the best art is free-flowing and free-thinking, and it happens to have a lot of happy accidents, which can be true at times. But sometimes you want to make sure that you know where you're going. It's almost like you jumping in a car and not knowing where you want to go and grab something to eat. No, you want to be able to know what kind of food that you're looking for. So once you get in the car, you can put it in your GPS and go straight there. The next thing I do is I start to add little details to the character to make him feel more like a monkey. On different parts of his suit, you can see a banana. On his weapons, it has a kind of a banana feel to it, where I'm trying to take little ideas and really integrate it into what I'm doing. Not really to sell the idea that this is a monkey, but to make you feel more comfortable in understanding what it could be, or allowing you to relate it to something that you know in your real life, in which you know different kinds of animals. That's something that you can take where you see something and then you add it into your work. Or there might be something that you want to add to your work that you don't really know about. Try it anyway and see what happens. Don't be afraid to make a mistake, and don't be afraid to be inventive and think about new things. As I was speaking before, he has his own weapon. Later in the video, I'm going to take some time to really go into details on how I want the weapon to look. I want him to have some kind of dagger where he can put it on his back, he can look pretty cool, and it's always there for him. While you're seeing me work on the suit, I'm thinking about how can I add just a little bit of a difference to the suit. What can I add to it where it's a bit unique, where it separates himself from the other characters in the story. When you're designing certain groups of people, they might have a similar look, so you want to separate little details. You want to make them feel similar, but also be individuals, almost like the Power Rangers, how each of them kind of have similar designs, but the color schemes are different from the Red Ranger to the Blue Ranger to the Black Ranger to the White Ranger. It allows you to see that they're different Rangers, but if all the Rangers were the same color, you might not know who's underneath the mask. It is the same thing with your work. Afterwards, you're going to see me work on the coloring. I want to add blues, grays, browns, whites, and yellows. Obviously, because of the fact of what he is or what he's based off, I'm going to use certain things to make it a little easier for you to identify. I don't want people to really guess too much about the characters. I want them to have a unique look. I want them to look like they're in my story, but also I want you to be able to really look at them in real life and say, what do I know that relates to this kind of character? And it's the same thing that you want to do for your work. Don't be afraid to use your style. You do not need to emulate everyone else's style. You have something unique about what you can do personally, what you can add to your story. Once you start to come up with the look, it's good to have multiple angles of your character, whether this is a 3/4 view, a side view, a front view, a back view. Sometimes you can draw all of them, sometimes you can shortcut it a little bit where you put a couple pieces there and you don't really draw the full character because you kind of understand already how it works. Each character is a little different, and depending on how many other characters like this character that you've designed, you can actually determine how you want your character sheet to be. I understand that there's a lot of work that goes into designing things. I understand that there's a lot of corrections and editing, and over time how much you change things, but don't be afraid and don't be frustrated, because that's the best thing about what you're doing. You're tweaking it so it looks better. So if you have to work on something for a full month, or you want to design your main character for a full month, give yourself that time so now the character looks best suited for you in that moment. And then if you want to change things later down, you still have a good idea what you want it to look like. You see this in some of the examples of young artists. There'll be one character design and over time it will shift and change. You can actually see it in my work where I take some of the details and not only does my art style get better, but you actually see how the details change slightly, even though it still has the same idea of the character, but now the character looks a lot better because over time my style got better and I was able to integrate that into what I was designing. So don't be afraid, just take your time. Because there's fur involved, I wanted to check to see how the skin will look from different shadows, from different colors, from different highlights, and really just make sure that it made sense to me. Because over time you might slightly change a person's appearance. You don't want it to be too drastic of a change. Also right now I'm going to start working on the dagger or the blades that he's going to use that's going to be on his back, just because I want to make sure that if I pull them out, I know exactly what they look like from the front and from the back. For some weapons, you actually don't need to draw it multiple times. You just need to draw it one time and have a good idea what it is. And if there's anything else later down the line, you can add a little bit of a retweak to it. The best thing about making characters is you get to work on yourself as an artist. You get to spend some time understanding what you're doing right and understanding the things that you need to work on. Some people design characters like myself back in the day where I didn't draw certain parts of the body. I was scared to work on certain parts, but I was still trying to design characters. If you think about that, that doesn't really make sense. When you're starting your characters, make sure you have a decent understanding of anatomy and angles, understanding how to move the camera and also how to bend and twist the body a little bit. Because if a character's walking or moving, some parts of the body is going to be shown a little differently. And you want to have just at least an understanding of it, because you don't want your work to look a little too crazy or you don't want it to look off. Practice the fundamentals. It's okay to start from the beginning and make sure that you have a good foundation and structure to what you're doing. Everybody wants to jump the gun, but in order to be great, you don't want to have too many holes in your work. It's almost like having holes in your cup. You don't want to drink from a cup that has a lot of holes. You want to drink from a truly solid cup. You don't want anything to spill on you, and it's the same thing with your work. The more you illustrate and you practice, the more you're actually going to be able to fill in some of them holes in your work, and it's going to make things a little easier for you. I know. The process is never really fun. So many hours and very little reward. But that's not really true. If you look at how much you've progressed, you'll actually see that you're actually gaining miles very quickly. Sometimes we're in our own shoes, so it's very hard to see. But if someone's seen your work from a year or 2 years ago, they'll definitely be able to see the jump, and you'll be able to see it too. Hopefully you was able to take something from this video and really add it to your arsenal, so when it's time for a problem, take something out of your toolbox and get the job done. Share the video and like the video. We want to make sure we're in front of as many creative people as possible, and we're helping and we're spreading the right information. Subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, because trust me, you definitely don't want to miss out on these next couple videos. You definitely want to miss out on none of them, but definitely not the next couple. And hopefully I'll catch you in the next one.